Look, all good things have to come to an end eventually, and that's where we're at here at LAFC Plus. Hello and welcome. How are you doing, Mario?
Doing well, Dave. Just the fact that this schedule here in July is just so busy, right? But it's
Yeah.
actually a helpful thing when you get a big loss like this because now there's no choice. You just have to turn the page. You can't really dwell on this one. You just gotta turn around, get yourself off the ground, and get ready for Wednesday because Wednesday's another tough match against RSL, which we're gonna talk about that one later on.
Yeah, then it's another Saturday match in a big game against Seattle. So they're fast and furious. You're right.
Yeah.
If you're wondering, the unbeaten streak of 13 games is done. LAFC were beaten by Columbus Crew at BMO Stadium. First lost at home this season as well in all competitions. A
Yeah.
5-1 comprehensive win for Columbus. And that's another thing that you kind of just have to kind of smirk and move on, right? It wasn't like a 2-1 nail biter where you gave up a goal in the 97th minute or a bad, giveaway in the, stoppage time and it cost you to lose the match and everything, oh, we should have had this or we kind of Columbus just beat us. Bottom
Yeah.
line,
Yeah.
from
That's true.
really midway through the first half, it was a very
Yeah.
even, first 20, 30 minutes, whatever it was. But once Columbus got going, yeah, there was no stopping them on that day. So they deserved it. They deserved the win.
It is only one loss, though. One loss, Dave, out of
Yeah,
13 matches. There's been going, a lot of winning has been happening here with the black and gold, and you only drop 3 points, right? I don't care
yeah.
what the score was. A loss is a loss. But now the key is, how do you bounce back? How do you bounce back from a loss like this, especially a match that everyone was looking forward to, a rematch of the MLS Cup final? That's going to be the test. We'll see with the LAFC.
And we talk about it. And look, there was the one kind of giveaway goal that really
Hmm.
hurt in the midst of this match. But the first two goals for Columbus, we talk about all the time. Make your opponent score great goals,
Oh,
and
wow.
they did. Those were great
Yeah.
goals, unfortunately, and that is going to happen sometimes. But that is more to Columbus's credit. Look, again, a bad game is going to happen. Cincinnati drubs Inter Miami 6-1 in a game, and then Cincinnati goes
Hmm.
on the road and loses. Or I'm sorry, stays at home, loses to Charlotte. We'll talk more about that. We'll talk more about the rest of the top of the West. LAFC did not lose ground, amazingly. So
Yeah.
it could have been a lot worse, ironically. I mean, the game itself, obviously, 5 goals at home you give up. That's unprecedented, literally. So yeah, it's a tough way to lose the streak. It's a tough way to lose, but in a weird way, it's like a palate cleanser. Just get it all out. Hopefully, all that mess and misery is just in one match. And then you're right. You
Hmm.
got to move on because the schedule does you no favors here by any
Yeah.
means. Middle of the week, RSL. End of the week, you then travel to Seattle, though it's not a huge in terms of how the distance. It's not a long road trip, but still a tough game to go on turf.
Hmm.
Immediately following what's going to be certainly a very brutal Wednesday match, tough game against RSL. And, I hate to say it because, again, you don't want to pick on individuals, but Mario, LAFC put themselves a little bit behind the 8 ball for Wednesday with the 2 red cards. I mean, let's be honest. Both teams did not finish with 11 men.
Yeah.
Marino Hinestrosa gets a red for Columbus while tangling up with Jesus Murillo late, and Sergi Palencia earlier in the match got the second yellow. So now we're talking about a back line that's missing 2 key players as well, with Aaron
Hmm.
Long still trying to get back from a knock he took recently. So yeah, it's never easy in these tough times when you have that many games back to back to back. We've been talking about it.
But 7 minutes, Dave, 7 minutes of added time at the end of that match was just ridiculous. We knew nothing good was going
Yeah,
to come out of that. Either someone is either going to get hurt
yeah,
or unnecessary cards are going to be pulled out. And that's exactly what happened. Even, after the final whistle, I saw
yeah.
Ilie Sanchez. I read his lips. He walked up to the ref. He said, very respectfully, why 7 minutes? And
Exactly.
the
So
tempers of the
stupid.
tempers, of course, were just flaring towards the very end. And just blow the whistle, especially when it
Yeah, I'm
starts
not
getting like
saying.
that. Blow the whistle.
The funny thing is, even during the broadcast, the guy called a good match relatively, like in terms of
Hmm.
calling fouls, picking up, cards that were given out. Look,
Yeah.
Palencia deserved his 2 yellow cards. This was not some bad refereeing or anything. And frankly, Murillo and Hinestrosa, even though it was in stoppage time, shouldn't have been given that much stoppage time, but it happens,
Hmm.
and they deserve their red cards. Like, they were not bad calls. But you're right. You got to have some common sense. And sometimes I think the referees get a little lost in the match, or they kind of feel like you got to stay by the book. First of all, I don't know where the 7 minutes came from. Anyway, we could argue that. I mean,
unbelievable.
There was a lot of goals scored. Who cares, right? That's the whole point. There was a lot of goals scored. The game's over. It's 4-1, 5-1.
Common sense.
Yeah, it's common sense. Yeah. Like, use a little bit of like, okay, what could happen here? What happens if I add 7? Well, it's not going to change the result. I mean, barring like a 1 in a billion comeback where you're down 5-1 with 7 minutes of stoppage time left, it's not going to change the result. Only bad things can happen, as Mario said. And you're right. Right? Only bad. A guy could get injured. It could be either side. We're talking, we're trying to protect Columbus here to a certain degree as well. Why do they want to keep running around having to go against a team that's, quite frankly, a little embarrassed in their home turf? That's dangerous. Now,
that's one way to tick off players and coaches right away. When you see this added minutes in an unnecessary, match, like that's not cool. But
for both sides.
Full credit to Columbus, though. I mean, especially Christian Ramirez. He had a tremendous game. He was all over the place in this one. He seemed highly motivated because he's a Cali dude. So he was returning home. He had lots of family there in the front row. Of course, he celebrated with them whenever he did score. But he was like pressing like a madman.
Yeah.
On top of that, the 2 goals. And he had no problem just celebrating with his family there. But we also saw Diego Rossi. Diego Rossi, he did get a goal, but he showed the utmost respect to 3252. He kind of just did like a little hand gesture over there to show respects to the 3252, and he didn't want to celebrate in front of them, which was very, very cool to see.
Look, I don't care either way if somebody does or doesn't. It's cool if they don't. I like that Diego Rossi. I like that he didn't celebrate. That's fine because here's the difference. Rossi in MLS was quote unquote made by LAFC. He did all the work. And he was a great player before we signed him, right? Up and coming 18-year-old, had a lot of suitors. So I'm not saying like, oh, we did him a favor to sign him, but like he in MLS, he was LAFC. Like that's where he started. And like Christian Ramirez, we love the guy, but he had bounced around. It wasn't like LAFC is his only club or it was his first club in MLS or we didn't draft him or bring him up through the academy kind of thing. So I don't hold it against him if he celebrates in his hometown and stuff. So I don't mind either way. I'm perfectly fine with Rossi not. I think it's cool that he didn't celebrate. I do like it, but I wouldn't hold it against him, let's say, if he does. I don't know how you feel about that in general. Like,
no, I love that he showed the ultimate respect because he was, a big player here. Like you said, he has a lot of history here with LAFC.
He's more, he's got
scoring the first ever goal with the club. I think, he's more kind of like obligated almost to kind of show more respect.
Sure.
And Christian Ramirez's time here was kind of short here with the LAFC. And like you said, he's bounced around in different leagues, not only MLS, but different leagues. So,
and I'm not going to make a joke about Christian Ramirez that if he can't celebrate against his former teams, he'd never be able to celebrate another goal. I'm not going to make that joke, okay? Because he's been around a little bit. Right, he's played for a lot. He'd laugh. He's played for a lot of teams. Not really, not that many. He's not Kai Kamara in that respect either. But he has played for a few teams. And if you start making Kai Kamara not celebrate against his former teams again, he'd never be able to celebrate a goal again. So it's like we got to give these guys a little leeway. They're still humans and professionals. And come on, they scored. But I like when a guy respects that too, in some level. Like I don't mind that he. I'm not saying, oh, Rossi, you should celebrate. No, it's cool. It's actually cool that he, mutes the celebration, if you will. But a guy who actually muted the celebration because it was 5-1, and maybe I would have liked to seen him have a better opportunity to celebrate. It was Nathan Ordaz, who did get the LAFC goal because it was his first MLS goal.
Triple team, 30 yards from goal. Bogut around 2 defenders with the right foot off to Martinez. The shot from 22 saves Schulte. Ordaz the rebound and in. Ordaz has scored. It's 4-1. And a little consolation for the BMO Stadium crowd. And I got to say, congratulations to Nathan Ordaz. His first ever MLS goal.
Yeah, great to see. Great to, that's the call on ESPN LA 710. You can tell I was a little muted because at the time it's 4-0, right? You can't really get too deep into it, but it was a really good moment for him, I think, just to kind of get that monkey off his back a little bit, like the first goal in MLS. He of course has scored in the Open Cup and all that, so in previous years or whatever, and he's obviously scored buckets of goals for LAFC too during his time there when he goes back and plays there. So he's deserved it. He's worked hard every time he comes in.
It's always good to get that first one away, especially that MLS goal. Get that one out of the way. And Nathan Ordaz has been working very, very hard, been very close to scoring sometimes in MLS. And now that he has, I think it's going to be a bit of relief for him, right? That has to build like a lot of confidence, and especially like a young player like him. So it's a huge milestone. Very happy for Nathan.
And he's had some assists along the way, certainly too, and he's done that in both, the Open Cup and all those other competitions and stuff. So he's definitely contributing. It's just, when you're a striker, you want to get that. You want to hey, I got to get a goal here to get going sometimes too. So always good to see that.
You know what though, Dave? We also actually got another glimpse of David Martinez and his powerful left foot in that play, right? Which led up to the rebound for Nathan. And David took a really good crack from it was from distance, Dave.
Yeah.
And I think we could look forward to a lot more of that from David really, really soon.
So skilled. I couldn't agree more. He's just so, and he's not afraid to pass. It's not as though doesn't look to pass to his teammates if they're open, but man, he's got the perfect amount of selfishness, as we talk about, kind of like with Denis Bouanga. You got to know your level of selfishness, right? And there are different levels for players of how much selfishness they should play the game with. And David Martinez should be given an awful long leash of selfishness, if that makes sense, because he has the talent to do it, bottom line. And, there are some guys, again, who maybe fit better looking for the pass first always, and maybe they need to be even a little more selfish sometimes, but he's got the perfect level of selfishness. Go at it, kid. Go at it. Really,
we need him to go at it, because there's still a lot of games left in the season, and we got to get on another run, get another run started, start peaking at that right moment, because we all know that it's very important to be rolling at the right moment and to have that good depth and to have rhythm and to have good health. And now we only look forward to the return of Kike Oliveira from Copa America, and then we also bring in Olivier Giroud into the group in August, which is just going to add to that depth and improves the team just that much more.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. It is a good point, and we're going to got to turn the page, and we turn the page onto a pretty cool segment now, actually, for the show. And that's why we're kind of, maybe if you are used to maybe hearing this show on a certain day, it's a little bit, behind schedule that way. But we wanted to make sure we got this going for you. It is Futbol Fit Check, and a very special edition for Mario Ruiz. Mario, take it away.
Oh, yeah. One thing that we know LAFC is good at is making some cool jerseys, right? And LAFC is about to release this one. And this one right here, check this out here. Denis Bouanga on doing the modeling tip here with the new third kit for LAFC. This one looks very cool, Dave. This one has a little bit of a retro feel to it, which hasn't been done yet for LAFC. A new color scheme too here. The different tones of the brown, I think, are just right, not too loud.
Yeah.
And then that font right there in front of the chest there where it says Los Angeles. I really like that font. I think that's very cool.
Sure.
And I really want to see how this comes together, though, with the shorts and the socks and all that, because that's also important, So we have yet to see that.
I agree.
What are your initial thoughts, Dave, so far?
Honestly, I love it. I really do. To me, it's a homage, a little bit of a tip of the cap to the 70s, which is kind of my era. So I grew up, 70s, 80s. This is kind of has that feel to me. I don't know if that was planned necessarily, but it kind of harkens me back really to the old NASL days, way back, like for American soccer. So I kind of like that homage. Here's a little bit of the look. If you're watching on YouTube, the back of the jersey with Denis' name and of course the number and the I like it.
Number looks killer too. I love the number, and on top the retro MLS type of logo on the top.
Yeah,
around the neck.
Love that.
Very, very cool. I love that touch right there.
That is really, that's a great point, actually. That's a very cool touch. And again, it feels like an homage to my era. So I really love that. Yeah, it's got a great feel, no doubt about it. That's my.
This is one of those jerseys where you're going to get a reaction when you wear this out and about around town. This is definitely going to turn heads for sure. And you have a lot of people that have a lot of pride in being from Los Angeles. A lot of Angelinos that love that. So when they see it says Los Angeles in the front, they're going to say, "Hey, where's that jersey from? What is that? Let me see that. Where'd you get that?" I think you'll get a lot of that.
I agree.
If you wear this around town.
Well, hopefully, like the other ones, they'll put enough X's in the size for me to wear, which is cool. And I will buy this. Yeah, this was one of those. Yeah, these are one, look, it is that cool to me because, again, it just fits. It's such a throwback.
Yeah.
It even feels like not just about soccer, really. Like it feels like a throwback, quote unquote, sports jersey, not just a soccer kit. Like, and I love the feel of that. I really do. It just,
and there's not
I can
just
wear
the
this
jersey.
You can wear this to other sporting events, no doubt. Like, and fit. For me, it fits.
How about the jacket? How about the track zip-up jacket? Omar Campos here doing the modeling here. This looks pretty smooth on him.
Yeah, it does.
I like that.
And again, a bit of a, wider collar, bit of a 70s feel, which I love.
It is a thick collar. You're right.
Early 80s. I love that. I love that look. Yeah, that's a cool jacket, no doubt. The cream color, but the accents of the brown and the gold. Oh, yeah. That's very sharp. Yeah. I didn't even know that one
to go with it.
Oh, forget about these. Oh, these gazelles.
Some gazelles.
Oh, come on.
You can't go wrong with gazelles. Gazelles are timeless. But now,
oh my gosh,
these ones
these
here
are so
to
cool.
match with the whole jersey, match with the kit and the jacket, and it says Los Angeles in the back there. I mean, these are sweet.
See, now if you put all of them together, they go well together. But then these shoes take it to a cool factor that leaves me in the dust. I can't wear them. I'm just not cool enough for these.
Oh, definitely, Dave. You could rock these. No problem.
I cannot rock these. They're too good.
These are timeless.
I know. Kids, so am I. But
adults, anybody can rock gazelles.
I'm timeless, meaning I'm old. But yeah, these are really sharp. I think not to give away too much. I think I'm gonna have to get a pair of these for my wife. She loves the Adidas, and the gazelles fit right in. So
get
those are looking
while
good.
You can, because these are gonna fly off the shelf.
Yeah, that's the problem. Exactly.
Yeah.
That is the problem. You're right. It's good luck with getting them. But that is Futbol Fit Check. Great stuff here as part of the third kit collection here for LAFC. I love it. I really do. It seems like, oh yeah, no kidding, you work for LAFC. But they just do things right, like with this stuff. I mean, and it's just they just get it right. And they have from day one. I'm sorry. And it just makes it so much easier, honestly. So I love the stuff. And it just makes it easier because you're not like, oh, yeah, right. We got to say we like it. Okay, great.
Right.
They just get it. They just smash it. They just get it right. So good stuff as always. But I love this third kit collection, really. I don't know if that's what they're calling it even, because it's not just the kit, but some of that other stuff that went along with it. Great stuff. Around the rest of MLS, some not so great stuff, if we're being honest. Mm-hmm. And by that, I mean, it is good for LAFC, but not for the rest of the top of the West, because despite LAFC losing their, unbeaten streak, nobody made up ground, Mario. No one took advantage. When I say no one, it's really RSL and LA Galaxy. They both fell on their face, both suffering losses. And I'm not going to whine about it. I'm not going to be heartbroken about it in any way, shape, or form. I mean, it's not a great thing that you lose your winning streak, or your unbeaten streak like LAFC did. Certainly you don't want to lose a match at home, but it maybe 5% felt less bad about it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I remember we were scoreboard watching, right, Dave? Right before LAFC's match started, we're in the booth and we're scoreboard watching. We're saying, wow, the West, all the top teams in the West are losing this. So it's kind of an opportunity for a breakaway in the Western Conference for LAFC. If they pick up a win here, pick up some points, but they ended up catching, a break as RSL, and Galaxy both lost as LAFC lost. So the standings in the West kind of remain the same as far as the leaders up top.
No, to be fair, if there was such a podcast like RSL Plus or Galaxy Plus, they'd probably be saying the same thing we are. Like, okay, we didn't lose ground. So they probably wouldn't be that upset about it either. But it was like, oh, tough way to go. Tough way to lose out on the unbeaten streak. But a sliver of a silver lining is we get right back to it on Wednesday, which is good, against RSL, which is, to be fair, a bigger match than the Columbus Crew one, if I'm being honest. Although they all count, but this is a 6-pointer, big time. And you didn't lose ground. So, because, I mean, think about it. If RSL wins that match on the weekend, then they're 3 points ahead of you as you host them. And then it's like even more, certainly, as big as this match is going to be on Wednesday, it's even more pronounced because of that. You don't want to drop 6 points back. So LAFC got to get right back to it, no doubt. But it wasn't the worst thing that RSL and the Galaxy. I'm wondering about the Galaxy, going to Dallas. look, it's not. You're going to lose on the road some. I mean, everybody in MLS knows that. And losses happen, but boy, they just didn't have much at all in that game. And in fairness, everybody at this point in time's missing players, injuries. I get it. We all have it. Everybody needs to rotate. Most teams are not quite as busy as we are or have been in this little stretch that we're about to go. So, but still, I get it. It can be difficult at times, but yeah, I don't know. I'm wondering about the Galaxy
though, Dave, with this one being in Dallas, because it is a road match, and we know how tough it is to win on the road.
Heat.
But this doesn't surprise me because the Galaxy haven't done well in Dallas. I mean, they haven't won a match in the last 8 times going to Dallas. So, that's a huge stat there. So, as good as they are, as good as the season that they're having, a lot of people expected them to win that match or to get points out of that match, but. Yeah, they haven't won over there in 8 matches. So
and since Peter Luchin took over as the interim coach for Dallas, they have.
They have.
They started to string some stuff together. They look like they're playing a little better. I think he's kind of getting a feel for what he wants to do with the lineup now and how he wants them to play with his formations and who he's going to rely on, kind of thing. And Dallas has more talent than their record would show. Now they've had some injuries early too, and I get it, and all the things that. And they're not a good team, not yet by any means, but they're kind of, I see your point. It's a tough place to go anyway for the Galaxy. Dallas kind of turning the corner maybe a little bit. It's a kind of a perfect storm there, which again we will gladly take. So no doubt. Speaking of perfect storm, now Argentina wins Copa America, so all you saw eventually off of Lionel Messi's face was nothing but smiles. But in the 65th minute, and then for a short time. After that, about 30 plus minutes until they actually won the match, he was struggling with the injury. Lionel Messi comes off with an ankle that looked, pretty rough. Yeah. Mario, how does this affect Inter Miami necessarily going forward here?
Yeah, they got to be concerned, right? Just the way that ankle just looked on the sideline of that Copa America final. And for Messi, to ask for the sub in a Copa America final, for him to ask for the sub, that has to mean it's something serious, right? Now, Inter Miami have done very well without Messi so far while he's been away at Copa America, but, it's going to be a tough one. They have to give him some rest. He has to, recover because this one looks a little bit more serious than some of the injuries that he's been having. We'll have to see. But Miami have to be very happy about the result in Cincinnati, though, too, right? Because now they're only just 1 point away from Cincinnati in the Supporters Shield.
And here's the thing, too. I try to look at things from a bigger perspective. Like, we're in the media, of course. PR, a big part of, sports and entertainment and all that. In a weird way, it's like now you can give Messi the rest he needs and needed anyway, realistically, with less of the pressure of, well, is he going to play?
Yeah.
You're coming to our town and everybody bought tickets. Well, sorry, he's hurt. That is part of sports, right?
When you buy healthy, a ticket, I think he'll just tell you, I'm going to play.
Yeah.
But this way,
he gets some rest as well. Now, of course, the ankle has to be healed. I mean, that's the most important thing. Yeah. But it also allows them buys them some time to really let him, not just heal the ankle, but get back mentally, physically, just kind of get recharged, if you will. Now, what does it say, or what does it do for their Leagues Cup defense? Trying to win that 2 years in a row. Well, that might be a little bit trickier with that ankle. So, but it could, at least it gives him the time. Like, they can't rush that, and they won't, but they can't. Now, again, you have the PR perspective. I hate to say it, but when you have a man as big as he is in terms of world football and as important as he is, tickets are sold because of him, right? They're not buying tickets to go see Benya Kremaski, even though he's a great young player. But, everybody knows his ankles really took a beating. I mean, it was bad. So
it is show business, Dave. We've seen this with all the big-time stars, with the LeBron James, with the Shohei Ohtanis of the world. People just all around the world, they buy tickets for them when they come into town.
Yeah,
but you know what? For those fans that go to those games and they're not playing, it hurts for those fans. They saved up sometimes.
Absolutely, it is bad. I don't want to minimize that. You're right. Yeah, you're 100% right. We still have to keep that perspective.
It is what it is, right?
It is what it is. I mean, you go to the Ice Capades and the lead actress may have accidentally, fallen the night before, and maybe she has to miss the show, or you go to Broadway and somebody gets sick, or,
it does
it is
put a lot of
entertainment.
pressure on the player and the club, though. It does.
And here's the thing that people have to remember about Lionel Messi. He is not sitting out to sit out.
No,
now that doesn't make you feel any better if he misses the match you bought tickets for necessarily, but at least this is not load management NBA, right? This is not, it's time to this dude, he is going to play if he can play realistically.
Yeah.
I believe that, and again, I understand he's still a human being and all the things that go along with that. But they know, Inter Miami knows what's at stake as well. And MLS does as well, and that's just, he's going to have to rest this ankle. And now he's going to have that time, because it would have been not weird, but let's say he comes out of Copa America winning the title, but perfectly healthy, right? He still needs a break.
He still deserves a break.
But then it's like, when do you not? When do you? It's still a tricky spot. Now it's like, get the ankle ready. Whatever that takes.
He's been away from his club for a month, and they want him back,
everybody who comes, I expect everybody, to get a little break after you come back from a tournament like that. My goodness, such a it's such a grind, and it's different. You're not at home. You're not in real life in that sense, so he needs a break, no doubt about it. And hopefully he gets that ankle back to 100% as quickly as possible, mind you. Team that's really flowing. I don't know that they're 100%. I don't know that anybody's 100% right now, but Charlotte FC, another impressive win. We mentioned FC Cincinnati a little early, but they go on the road and get a big 3-1 win. Miles Robinson gets a red card for Cincinnati, so that carries over to the next match as well, of course, with everything involved in a race for the Supporter Shield again for FC Cincinnati. That is a big win, though. I'm not saying Charlotte is ready to be, pronounced one of the favorites going into MLS Cup playoffs or anything, but they've been impressing me, Mario.
Yeah, that was a surprise for me. In Cincinnati's home, that was a tremendous match. Lucho Acosta, he did have a really, really nice goal in that match, but he also missed a PK, which was kind of rare to see, but that match was just filled with all kinds of drama, entertaining, and, there was a few goals that were called back. And the red card on Miles Robinson, he's getting ready to go to the Olympics, so he got a red card just on his way out there. But the fans, they got a very entertaining match there in that one. That was a good one.
It was a good one and a good win, no doubt, for Charlotte on the road, which they haven't always been, that's been kind of their Achilles heel to a large extent, is winning on the road. They've always been pretty good at home, but to see them pick up points like that, you're vaulting up the table when you start to do that against a team like Cincinnati, get big wins on the road.
Nobody happier than Inter Miami, because they had the weekend off, so nobody happier than them.
Nobody gained in MLS, it seems, at the top of these races. Like no one can get themselves going in the right direction this week. It was a crazy week, no doubt, and it will continue. We got Wednesday coming up against RSL, but first, we want to wrap up something, the episode 20 contest. Now, you're wondering, hey, wait a minute, this is episode 22. Well, if you're just joining LAFC Plus, welcome. We're glad to have you. But for episode 10, we did this, and now for episode 20, for 3 consecutive episodes, starting with episode 20, just a couple ago, we're giving out a phrase in the show, a phrase that of the week, if you will. And if you gather all 3 phrases, meaning you had to be listening to the shows, and go find them if you go back and listen. I'm not telling you where they're at. Then you could possibly win 2 tickets, my season tickets, to an LAFC match. And this phrase for this week is, we move on, because it is time to move on quickly for LAFC, certainly after that loss.
Yep.
And the schedule says we have to, right? So the phrase is, we move on. Now, coming up this week, as it turns out, it's maybe a little bit later. Hopefully you didn't miss it, but Tuesday evening, all right? Well, let's say Tuesday dinner time, 5 p.m. Follow me on Twitter before then, at Talk Soccer. At 5 p.m. on Tuesday, whenever you're listening to this, hopefully it's not too late, we're going to release a contest. It'll be a tweet or an X or whatever they call them now. And you basically have to respond. First one to respond with all 3 phrases in those shows. Now, don't do it before then, because you won't win. It won't matter. But once I deliver that tweet or that X or whatever they call it, again, at 5 p.m. Pacific time, Tuesday, And the first one to respond to that will get my pair of season tickets to an upcoming game. We'll
Sweet.
work out. You and I will work out. Whoever wins, you and I will work out. Now, if you
There's
won
a
the
good
first
view
one,
from those seats too. Good, nice. View,
great,
too.
great seats. The gentleman who won the first time, you are not eligible. Sorry. We love you. I'm glad you enjoyed it, but we're going to let other people get a chance to win. Maybe you can join back in, hopefully in future contests, because we're not going to just stop with these, Mario.
Yeah.
Good stuff. We've got the RSL game coming up. A little bit on that Wednesday. Talk a little bit about this, Mario. This is a big game again.
Yeah, this is a massive one, Dave. Not only because we're equal on points, of course, in that race for the top of the West, not only because Chicho Arango is there, of course, but it's also a chance to see LAFC bounce back from that loss to Columbus. And that's really what I'm looking forward to. So make sure you guys join us on the pregame show, 710 ESPN at 7 p.m. Also on the ESPN LA app. Just look for the tile that says LAFC play-by-play. Super easy. And it's great audio, too. If you just download the app, the ESPN LA app, it works great. Check that out if you can tune in on 710 ESPN.
Great stuff. Absolutely. And I'm not trying to put pressure on anybody. They don't care what I say anyway. But LAFC doesn't lose at home, let alone lose 2 in a row at home, too. So there is some big pressure on this match to take down RSL at your house. We cannot have consecutive losses at BMO Stadium. Again, join us Wednesday, pregame at 7 o'clock on ESPN LA and the ESPN LA app. Mario, great stuff as always, man. Great show.
Great stuff. Great stuff, David. Dale, black and gold. Let's go.